My name is Kenya, and I never thought I'd share this story. I grew up in a regular home with my parents and my older brother, Daniel. My dad worked hard as a sales manager, while my mom stayed home and managed some money she inherited. We weren't rich, but we got by. My parents seemed to treat Daniel and me the same. They even saved money for both of us to go to college. When Daniel graduated high school, they threw him a big party, but when I graduated, all I got was a quiet dinner before heading off to college. In college, I felt free. I made friends, joined the debate team, and started dating. I called home sometimes, but my parents only seemed interested in talking about Daniel, their favorite. After graduation, I was excited to start my career, but when I got home, something felt off. My mom greeted me quickly, then rushed off to prepare dinner for Daniel's girlfriend, Harley. It was clear nothing had changed. I was still just an afterthought. Over the next few days, I watched my parents spoil Daniel and Harley. My mom even kept Daniel's room spotless like he still lived there. Meanwhile, my childhood bedroom had been turned into Daniel's home office. It felt like I had been erased. One evening, my dad pulled me aside. "Kenya, you've graduated now. It's time for you to find your own place," he said casually, like he was doing me a favor. They were kicking me out. That night, I called my grandma Lakeland, my dad's mother. She was the only person in the family who made sense. "Oh, sweetie," she said warmly, "come stay with me, I have plenty of room." I was tempted. Her house was huge, but I knew I had to stand on my own. "Thanks, Grandma, but I need to do this myself," I told her. She paused, then said, "I'm proud of you, Kenya. Tell you what, I'll pay for your first month's rent as a graduation gift." A week later, I moved into a small apartment. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I got an entry-level job at a marketing firm and focused on building my new life. Months passed. My mom would send short texts like, "Hope you're doing well," but I knew I was no longer a priority. Daniel was their golden child, and I had been pushed aside. Then, everything changed. I met Charles. He was kind, supportive, and made me feel important. Our relationship grew quickly, and after 5 months, we moved in together. One night, over Chinese takeout, he proposed. I said yes. When I introduced Charles to my parents, they suddenly paid attention to me again. They were impressed by his job at a tech startup and treated him like a prize. My dad even told him, "You'll make a fine addition to the family." The next day, my mom called, thrilled. "Kenya, we want to help with the wedding. We'll pay for half and handle the planning," she said. For the first time, I felt like I mattered to them. Planning the wedding was exciting. My mom booked a fancy restaurant. My dad made a huge guest list, and I found the perfect dress. Everything was set. Then, 3 weeks before the wedding, I got a call. "Kenya, honey," my mom said hesitantly, "we have to cancel the wedding." I felt like the air had been knocked out of me. "Why?" I asked, panicked. "It's Daniel," she said. "He and Harley broke up. He's devastated. We can't celebrate while he's in pain." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Mom, everything is planned, guests already booked flights," I argued. My dad jumped in. "Kenya, don't be selfish. Your brother needs us right now." I was speechless. My wedding didn't matter, only Daniel did. That night, I called Daniel. When I asked if he knew about the wedding being cancelled, he sounded annoyed. "Oh yeah," he said casually, "I didn't plan on coming anyway." I was furious. I called my parents back, shaking with anger. When my mom picked up, I didn't let her speak. "Grandma," I said, my voice trembling. I told Grandma everything, the sudden cancellation of my wedding, Daniel's betrayal, and how our parents still chose him no matter what. Grandma just listened and said softly, "Oh dear." Now and then, when I finished, she replied with deep sympathy, "What a mess, my dear. Don't worry, I'll try to make them see reason." About an hour later, Grandma called back. Her voice was heavy with sadness. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart," she said. "I tried to reason with them, but they wouldn't listen. Your father even canceled the restaurant and told all your guests." I felt a deep despair. It was clear, my parents always put Daniel first, no matter who got hurt. The next morning, I woke to a knock at my door. It was Grandma Lakeland with a tray of coffee and pastries. "I thought you could use some breakfast," she said as she walked into my apartment. We sat together at my small kitchen table. I clutched my coffee like it was a lifeline. Then Grandma dropped another shock. "I found out why your parents canceled your wedding," she said, her voice a bit angry. They bought Daniel an expensive vacation package for two and a brand new sports car. My heart sank. But how can they afford all that? I whispered. Grandma reached for my hand. They can't, dear. That money is being used for Daniel's grand apology to Harley, and if Harley takes him back, they even plan to pay for his wedding. I sat in silence, shocked by their decision. Grandma's next words made me feel a little better. Listen, you deserve your own special day, and I'm going to help you have it. I'll pay for your wedding. Tears filled my eyes as Grandma hugged me tightly. No more tears, she said softly, stroking my hair. We have a wedding to plan. In the next few hours, we got busy. I sent an email to all my guests explaining the change and announcing a new wedding date, just 3 weeks away. Charles helped every step of the way. Grandma and I were determined, even though I was hurt, we would make sure the wedding happened with love and with people who really cared about us. When I told Charles about the cancelled plans, he comforted me. As long as I'm marrying you, the details don't matter, he said. His parents also supported us. His mom said warmly, we're family now, we stick together. In the following weeks, wedding planning became a busy project filled with love and hope. Charles, his parents, Grandma, and I worked together to secure a new venue, confirm the caterer, and make sure everything was set for the big day. I felt both happy about starting my new life with Charles and sad about the broken family ties. My parents didn't reach out at all. I had become invisible to them. Then my mom escalated things. She called repeatedly, leaving angry voicemails. Kenya, I know what you're doing with your grandmother. Stop it now. You have no right to turn her against us, she warned. I deleted her messages in frustration, but they kept coming, each one harsher. One message accused me of using Grandma for money and threatened serious consequences if I didn't stop. The situation worsened when Charles, looking upset, showed me a Facebook post from my mom. It read like a public attack. It breaks my heart to say this, but my daughter Kenya has shown her true colors. She's manipulating her poor, confused grandmother for money. She doesn't care about family, only herself. How did we raise such a selfish child? I scrolled and saw my dad had also joined in, calling me a jealous sibling who was trying to tear the family apart. Feeling distraught but determined, I went to Grandma Lakeland's house. She was already setting up her iPad, ready to respond. Your parents think I don't know how to use the internet, she said with a chuckle. Let's show them how wrong they are. For the next hour, we recorded a video together. Grandma spoke clearly into the camera. I'm Lakeland Thompson, and I'm here to tell the truth. I'm of sound mind, and I'm shocked by the lies my son and daughter-in-law are spreading about my granddaughter, Kenya. She hasn't manipulated me or turned me against anyone. Kenya is kind and loving, and she deserves better. Tears filled my eyes as she recounted how my parents had always favored Daniel. I love both my grandchildren, she continued, but it's time the truth comes out. Charles and I felt stronger with Grandma's brave defense. We decided to move forward and celebrate our love, no matter what obstacles lay ahead. That night, we released Grandma's video online. In a few hours, it gathered hundreds of comments and shares, sparking a fierce debate among our family. Cousin Sarah supported me, Great Aunt criticized my dad for favoring Daniel, and Uncle Mason called my parents out, saying, "This is really low, you need to fix this." Still, other family members defended my parents. Watching the heated discussions on my screen made me feel a mix of relief and heartbreak. The next day, I got an unexpected call from Uncle Ryan, my mom's brother. I was nervous, expecting more drama, but his voice was kind. "Kenya, it's Uncle Ryan. I saw the video and I had no idea things were this bad," he said. His warm tone eased my tension. After a short pause, he added, "Listen, kiddo, I'm on your side, and if your dad isn't coming to your wedding, I'd be honored to walk you down the aisle." Tears welled up as I accepted his offer. Our conversation ended with plans to talk more later, and I felt a spark of hope. As Charles and I finalized our guest list, I crossed out the names of my parents and Daniel. It was a hard decision, but necessary. When we told Charles's parents, his mom hugged me and said, "You're family now, Kenya, we've got your back." Wedding day came sooner than expected, and we had a small, intimate ceremony in the bridal suite, with Grandma Lakeland helping me adjust my veil. I felt a calm I hadn't known in a long time. Uncle Ryan walked me down the aisle, and when Charles saw me, his face lit up with love. We exchanged our vows and rings, and just like that, we were married. The reception was a joyful celebration with those who truly cared about us. We danced, laughed, and enjoyed the love shared by our close family and friends. Later, Grandma Lakeland raised her glass and announced, "Kenya, you have shown amazing strength and grace. I'm so proud of you that I'm naming you my sole heir. It's not much, but it shows how much you mean to me." The room burst into applause. Overwhelmed, I hugged her tight and whispered, "Thank you, I love you so much." She smiled and said, "I love you too, dear. Now enjoy your day." But the happiness didn't last long. About a week later, while Charles and I were looking at our wedding photos, my phone kept buzzing with angry messages on Facebook. I saw furious posts from my parents. My mom's post said, "How dare you turn my mother against me?" Then my dad's message read, "You manipulative little witch, you've stolen our inheritance." I felt sick. Before I could think more, Grandma Lakeland called again. "Don't worry about a thing, dear," she said, and true to her word, she took charge. The next day, my dad called in a tired, defeated tone. "Kenya," he said, "Grandma is threatening to take us to court. She says she has evidence of harassment. Please tell her not to do anything rash." I smiled, feeling a weight lift from my shoulders. "I think you should tell her that yourself, Dad, and while you're at it, maybe apologize for all the trouble you've caused." After I hung up, I felt that a long, painful chapter was finally over. In the months that followed, Charles and I started our new life together. We learned the little quirks of married life and enjoyed our routine. Every Sunday, we had dinner with Grandma Lakeland, sharing stories and laughing together. One evening, as we sat with Grandma, she began, "Did I ever tell you about the time I snuck out to see Elvis in concert?" Charles and I exchanged a grin. "No, Grandma," I said eagerly, "tell us." Life wasn't perfect, we argued about chores and felt the usual stresses, but knowing I had real family support made everything easier. We spent holidays with Uncle Ryan and his family, slowly healing old wounds. It was different now, more genuine and filled with love. As for my parents and Daniel, they soon faced the consequences of their actions. Despite spending a lot of money on Daniel's grand apology, Harley had moved on. Daniel lost his fancy job and continued living at home, spoiled by our parents. They still treated him like the golden child, but without Grandma Lakeland's help, things fell apart. I felt a little pity for them, but mostly, I felt free from having to compete for their love. I wasn't sure what the future held for them, but I knew I had the strength and support to face mine. Please leave your comments. We're looking forward to your comments and channel subscriptions. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching till the end.